However, there's still the issue of our leader, my dear friend, Sir Alan. You want to lead? Earn it.
No! Let the trails go to Brown, then. I'll replace them.
He's got half a dozen men with him. We won't get the chance to replace them.
They won't get me out of here without a fight.
Yes, Alan, they will. And what happens when Brown gets in?
Never. He won't last.
He won't have to last to kill your railroads.
He can't. We've gone too far.
Doesn't matter how far we've gone, Alan. He doesn't care about that.
We've invested millions.
He can and he would, and you know he would.
No, he can't.
Yes, he would.
He can't. What we do? We can't go back to the people so soon.
No, you'd lose. You can't keep this office and be president of the Great Western Railroad anymore, Alan. The people won't accept it. Give it up or risk losing both.
Is it your doing, John?
No.
Did you?
No, it is most certainly not my doing, Alan. It's yours. I will go down with you if you so choose, but we will go down. And you lose everything you've worked so hard for. You've sacrificed enough for the country. Retire with the honor you deserve, knowing that your replacement remains fully committed to the success of your railroad.
You already chosen a new leader? Who? I always knew you were ambitious.
McNabb has resigned. Personal reasons. Of course, the government's going to try and survive.
Under Cartier?
No. Under Macdonald, but we still have Spence and Morrison.
No, we don't. We don't have anything. They'll already be at the Governor-General's getting sworn in. This is a disaster for us.
Oh, why? George, we've driven the Premier out of office. How can that be a bad thing?
A snake instead of a pig is no improvement. We haven't driven McNabb out, we put Macdonald in.
In the 2 decades since responsible government has come to Canada, the Conservative Party has practiced and perfected the art of betrayal. Of selling out their own good United Empire loyalist supporters to the quiet tyranny of the French. And now they have a new leader before us, John A. Macdonald. And how shall we judge him? We know one thing, that he will betray his superiors for his own personal gain.
Mr. Speaker, I object.
I ask the Tories, how can you trust him now? How can you follow a man that would put the knife in his own leader's back? Is there anyone he won't betray? Are your own children for sale next, Macdonald? My children? Who are you calling whore, Brown? My living son or my dead one?
A bit rude keeping us waiting this long.
He's telling us he's unhappy.
About what exactly?
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Your Excellency.
There's much to catch up on.
So how was London, Your Excellency?
In a word, torture. An unbroken series of personal embarrassments. Do you know why?
Your Excellency?
Because I am the Queen's representative for Canada, Mr. Premier, and Canada is an embarrassment. The country that doesn't, the colony that failed.
I must take offense at that, Your Excellency.
Well, how do you think I bloody well feel? Canada's my responsibility. Do you think I enjoy taking responsibility for failure?
Your Excellency.
Mr. Cartier, where is the capital of Canada?
Toronto, temporarily.
Mm-hmm. And then it goes to Quebec City, also temporarily.
The capital is an unfair issue to choose, Your Excellency.
The hell it is. It's the absolutely indicative issue. Upper and Lower Canada were joined together almost 20 years ago, and you still don't have a capital. You burned down the one in Montreal, you abandoned Kingston, and now you can't choose between Toronto and Quebec City. So every few years, you pack up the entire business of government and everybody's families and move them 500 miles away. This is how you run a country?
It's not for want of trying, Your Excellency. We've held more than 100 votes trying to settle the issue.
More than 150, actually.
Well, there you are. How can you possibly get anything done when you waste 150 votes on an issue that's simply either or? It's past enough. It's time to put a stop to it. I say, you put the capital here, in Bytown.
It's called Ottawa now, Your Excellency.
Yes, I know that. Whatever it's called, it's perfect, you see. It's right on the border. It's a magnificent location overlooking the river. You can even build a real parliament building.
It is a novel approach.
All due respect, Your Excellency, it's an illiterate lumber camp on the wrong side of the river. It's an insult to prefer Bytown to Quebec.
No more than it is to Toronto.
Look, I mean to solve this problem right now. We have important issues to deal with. The Hudson Bay leases are coming up. The Red River territories will be open for settlement soon.
It is Canada's position that those territories will be given to us.
But Canada can't even solve a simple domestic issue, like choosing a capital. Why in hell would it be given more territory to mismanage?
Because otherwise the Americans will take it.
Precisely my point. The Americans are growing, moving forward with their manifest destiny. Meanwhile, Canada is locked in the same petty arguments as 20 years ago, 40 years ago. This used to be a significant colony. It could be again. This is the first step.
Sorry. I cannot abandon Quebec.
George. George, listen. Please. There's a brilliance to this. Ottawa's no base. There's no wealth there. There's no votes. No one gains from choosing it. No one loses. We can all live with it. You and me and George Brown alike.
You really want us to build a capital city in the middle of the wilderness?
It's Canada. Everything's in the middle of the wilderness.
I don't understand. What do you see in this?
The most fantastic thing in the world, George. The moment when the impossible becomes possible. George, this is possible.
Even if I support it, Brown will oppose it. As you said, it's an insult to Toronto. And of course, it comes from us.
You're right. He'll oppose it. To the death, no doubt. But what if it didn't come from us? What if we were as shocked with the idea as he is? What if it came from her? Is that possible?
I don't know.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to announce that Her Majesty has responded to this government's humble request for guidance. I present to you our Queen's choice for the permanent capital of our young nation. Her Majesty Queen Victoria has selected Ottawa Town as the home of the new...
No! Never! Toronto! Toronto!
Pas dans la capitale! C'est une disgrâce!
The issue is settled. The capital of Canada shall be placed in Ottawa Town on the banks of the great river that joins Upper and Lower Canada together.
That divides us more like Macdonald.
Yes, Mr. Brown knows all about dividing, doesn't he? Thankfully, Her Majesty found a way to bring us together instead. Let everyone see for himself. We shall begin construction of a proper parliament in Ottawa immediately.
Mr. Speaker, what is the purpose of this assembly if Mr. Macdonald can make such vital changes to this country without even consulting us?
Mr. Speaker, what is the purpose of an assembly when Mr. Brown only uses it to obstruct getting anything done? Thanks to Her Majesty, the issue of the capital is finally settled. Should we not be grateful?
Nothing is settled until this assembly approves it.
Do you dare oppose the choice of the Queen? Yea or nay, Mr. Brown? Mr. Speaker, I call on Mr. Brown to answer the question. Is he urging this assembly to vote against the wishes of our Queen?
Answer him!
Of course, I mean no such thing, Mr. Speaker.
hides behind the Queen's skirts. It is unconscionable.
We can't fight it, George. It's the Queen's idea.
You really think Her Majesty takes a keen interest in backwoods lumber towns, do you? The sun never sets on the British Empire, but somehow Queen Victoria found the time to take out a magnifying glass and pick out Ottawa. Ottawa? Don't be stupid! This is Macdonald's work.
George, not everything is a result of some scheme by John A.
It doesn't matter. The Queen has spoken.
You can't even think of opposing it now.
Can't I?
No, George, you can't. It's the Queen. If you came out publicly against her, it's unthinkable.
For God's sakes. Monsieur Dorian. May I join you?
Bien sûr. Est-ce que je peux vous offrir un verre?
I'm afraid my French isn't what it should be. I would very much like to discuss something with you. Something somewhat delicate.
S'il vous plaît, monsieur.
I want to discuss working together.
That is a surprise.
Well, why should it be? I'm leader of the English opposition, you're the French, we are natural allies.
Yes, we're not allies, are we? Perhaps because of your well-established antipathy for the French?
My grievance is legitimate and restricted to the French influence in English Canada, which is out of all proportion. You can't deny it.
And your solution is that we should submit to a complete domination by you instead?
I'm not here to argue representation by population. Could we just put the issue aside?
How can we, Mr. Brown? It's your central theme. Should I also cover my eyes and pretend I don't know who I'm talking to?
Would you at least hear me out?
Of course. I'm quite curious.
I presume you oppose this ridiculous Ottawa proposal.
I can assure you that all the French members wanted the capital in Quebec. But the Queen has chosen.
So Cartier's followers must bite their tongues and vote for it just as I must, or be called a traitor to the Queen.
Yes, this is the trap they've put you in. It's quite a good one.
I can't get out of it. But you could oppose the Queen. Symbolically. Couldn't you?
Daddy!
You made it all right, I see.
No. Mummy said it was a terrible trip.
Of course they did. Let's go to the kitchen.
John, have you seen Hugh? Is he still up?
He's right here.
All right, then. Off to bed with you.
Good night. Good night, Father.
Good night, Hugh.
Why do you look so sad?
I'm just tired. I'll bring Hugh to the assembly with me. A valuable experience for him.
You never used to look sad. Not ever.
I'm not sad.
If little John hadn't been taken.
Isabella.
It was so much better, wasn't it? Before. We were so happy.
Yes, Isa, we were very happy. For a little while. For a little while we were.
Mr. Speaker, Her Majesty Queen Victoria has